Hey, Jaden.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here.
Oh, well, thanks again. So since this is called Coffee and Conversations with Rachel, what is your favorite go-to coffee or your favorite spot or...
Well, that's funny you asked that because I'm not the biggest coffee drinker, but I love like going with friends to like coffee shops and stuff like that. There's a place called Cuppa Austin that's right next to my house. That's pretty cool. Summer Moon is always good, always classic and pretty easy and stuff. And so those are probably the main spots. But I'll go anywhere with friends and stuff and family, and that's really nice.
I'm with you. I don't really drink coffee, but if anybody's like, "Hey, you want to go grab coffee?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah. I'll go do that."
Absolutely, yeah.
So do you grab like a drink or anything on the way into church when you're coming into work?
Usually I don't.
Okay.
I'm the type of guy that like when I wake up, I'll just like chug a glass of water and then just like move on. Like I don't really have much of a pick me up in the morning. I'm maybe at some point I will, but at the moment I'm like trying to just stick to water. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same way. I don't drink like tons of caffeine during the day or no coffee, tea every now and then. So yeah, my warm tea today because it's freezing to me. So we've had two moms come on that have had sons and talk about raising their sons. And now we have you like that's older, gone through it. And I would love to hear how your parents helped you with your faith growing up and just like nurtured like your love for Jesus growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the main thing that I've always noticed is just being surrounded by loving people in a good environment. I think, growing up, they didn't like pressure it on me as much. Like they didn't be like, hey, you have to believe in this, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do all these things. It's just putting me in an environment with loving people and a good church.
Yeah.
And that really helps. And once you create that sort of foundation and realize like all the good things that can come out of a good environment and good church family and good, Christian family and all these things, I think that sort of definitely creates a foundation for pretty good faith.
How long have y'all been at Westover?
Forever, literally. Like,
okay, so you grew up here pretty much.
Yeah, I think I literally grew up here. Like Adam and Denise, like probably held me when I was like just born. So, I've grown up here like literally my entire life.
So was it easy to get involved in the youth and the transition to that?
Yeah, it was pretty easy just because, it's that thing of like, I know a lot of people here, growing up here, you just kind of know the system and the people a lot more. So it was a lot easier. And I had two older siblings, a brother and a sister that grew up here as well. So just kind of looking at what they did and kind of doing the same thing, getting involved in youth group and really whatever I can. And I had really solid friends that were here as well. So that made things a lot easier to get into and get plugged in and start working.
What was the most influential thing, I guess, in the youth group that you did that you feel like made a huge difference in life later?
Yeah, I think everyone always talks about it in the youth group, but all the camps and stuff are really, really cool. It's interesting because there's kind of different camps, and they're all very different. They're all very unique. Like one of them, you're working with really young kids and trying to be a leader of sorts for them and help them out in their faith. And other things, you're with a bunch of other high schoolers and trying to learn with them and trying to grow. And so there's a variety of things, and I think that's really, really cool. And I think that really helped out. Whether it's helping younger people, helping older people, just communing together with people your age. I think the variety of camps and the variety of things that we did, I think was really, really helpful. And helped me get an understanding and new perspectives and stuff like that.
I feel like that plays out really well at VIP camp, just because I have like a little, fourth grader, and seeing him with high schoolers, and he's already getting that little bit of community that lots of kids I don't think really get. Like they get that interaction. They're getting to spend the night with them in a cabin and stuff. And it's just a really neat experience to see that in them. Yeah,
absolutely. I think you don't really realize it, but I think younger people look up to older people a lot.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you're not like, oh, I stare at these older people and want to be exactly like them. But like you kind of, it's this background thing of you're definitely looking up to other people. So that's really cool to experience and to see from the other perspective, like that these kids are looking up to you and looking up to other great Christians and leaders and all this stuff. And so it's definitely, it's a cool experience. It's a cool thing.
Yeah. I feel like Westover does a great job with that too. Just how y'all, when the high schoolers like graduate, like a year or two later, they come back and are interns and just all the care groups we have and VIP camp we have, there is a huge opportunity for that if you get in it and take advantage of it.
Absolutely. I will say there's not the biggest like college, we don't really have much of a college ministry here, but like you said, those college students that come back and they get plugged into internships or just helping out with certain events or camps or stuff like that. So I think that's super cool. It just shows that having a good foundation here is really nice.
Yeah. How have you, as you've struggled different parts of your life, like going to college or different things in high school, how has that faith like come back into play that your parents have kind of grown in you, helped you grow?
Yeah, absolutely. I think going off to college is definitely an experience because, with someone like me, where I've grown up here my entire life, going to college and going to a different city and trying to find new churches is very interesting and it can be a little frustrating at times just because it's not, all the churches that you're trying are not what you grew up with. They're not, the exact same as Westover. So, dealing with that was very interesting and trying to figure out like, okay, what are the foundational things that I care about for a church? And if this church has all those things, then I'm going to stick with it, even if it's a little different than what I'm used to. So I think just kind of adapting to where you're at, especially in college and in a new city or if you were to move, at some point, definitely adaptability, which I think my parents have really helped me out with, and they try to install that into me and try to be flexible and figure out like the core values for me, and then work around all the other stuff, all the stuff on the outside. So just being adaptable and just flexible and trying to figure out what's your core stuff.
Did they talk through that with you, or is it just something that was modeled really well?
I think it was more modeled. I think, honestly, there weren't a ton of times where my parents like sat down with me and they were like, hey, you need to do this, this, and that. This is what we're doing. Like it was more action and not necessarily words sort of thing. So they've shown that more than talked about it, which I actually think is a lot better. So
yeah, that probably goes a lot more. I mean, even with my own kids, just please and thank you. If I told them that all the time, they start catching up on it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Well, Jaden, thank you for stopping by, and we will see you again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.